We decided to do this video because we wanted to interact with everybody and do some video stuff, do some live stuff because we want to give back. We definitely wanted to reach out to you guys, and we're definitely thankful for all the support and all the positive vibes you guys have been sending us. So thank you guys. Today's topic is Q&A about the American Molossus. I'm Marcus Curtis.
And I'm Yvette Curtis.
And we're the founders of the American Molossus. We are Old World Molossus. And so we wanted to reach out to you guys. And we have some questions that were given to us. We wanted to share them with you guys. We wanted to answer those, and hopefully it's helpful for you. And also, for those of you that are joining in, if you guys have some questions, feel free to give us those questions. We'll try to answer them at the time we're on here, and if we don't, we'll definitely get back to you. But we definitely appreciate your support and everybody that's out there that's joined in our community. So I guess we'll get started. Want to give us the first question?
Sure. Okay, so one of the questions that was asked to us is how old is the breed? Which is a very important question, and I feel it should be reminded, because a lot of times people are confused to what is it? I never heard of it. And it's a little bit of a history lesson going to go on right here about the breed and the dog. And if you're watching and you've never heard of them or know what they are, this is very important for you to listen to.
Yeah, so the American Molossus, how old is the breed? It's actually one of the oldest guardian breeds ever. We resurrected it, but the original breed is from ancient Mesopotamia, and that was from 5000 BC to 2100 BC. So we're talking really, really old. I think that any of you that are curious about it, if you do a little bit of research and check it out, you'd be amazed at the history of this breed. That being said, they have been recently resurrected. We're working on these dogs as we speak. There are several of them out and about, and there are several really good people and breeders that have joined in with us to get this thing going. What was the other question that they gave us?
So another question that they gave us was, is this a registered breed? And if so, what registry are they in, or are they in multiple registries?
So really good question that we got. And what I would say with this is, yes, they are a registered breed. They are not just a registered breed, but the registries they're recognized by the USBR, the AVF, the UBBR, and the DBR. And to those people from those registries, thank you. We love you guys, and we love what you're doing out there. So yes, they are registered, and those are the registries they are registered with. We are working on the process to get them registered with the CKC and the AKC.
Yes, CKC. I was going to say, did you mention CKC? Yes.
Right.
Okay, well, you've answered too. So another question a lot of people have asked is what colors do they come in? And if you remember one of our recent breedings, we had a little bit of a surprise. So Marcus here is going to elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, so the original ancient Molossus was a black to black brindle color, and they were bred like that because unlike today where most dogs are companions or in the show ring and stuff like that, these dogs were bred to protect, and we're talking about people, we're talking about livestock, animals, villages, and at that time, if they didn't have a dog that could protect them, they perish. Mm-hmm. So these dogs were bred for that, and in order to be camouflaged at night, they were black or black brindle or brindle in color, so that's what the colors are. That being said, we did mention that we are in the process of resurrecting these dogs. We're having to use carefully selected dogs, and sometimes the recessive gene colors will pop out. And what are those colors? They can be blue brindle, they can be fawn.
Or just blue.
Yes, and those colors can pop out, but and they are okay in the beginning, but ultimately black brindle and brindle will be the only colors that will be allowed later on down the road. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Great questions, by the way.
Absolutely. So another question was, if they're originated in ancient Mesopotamia, why are they called American Molossus?
So this was a great question that was posed to us, and I've seen it a couple of times. People were just curious because they'll say they can't be ancient if they're American. And I think that is a fantastic question, and they are right. The original Molossus is from ancient Mesopotamia, and it's really important to know where they came from. Mesopotamia, Sumeria, Babylon. Those are the originals. Now, obviously, they were passed on through different generations, and we decided to resurrect this breed, and being the fact that we're from America, that's where we come up with the name, the American Molossus. So it was a great question, and I'm happy that we were able to finally answer that so that there's no confusion on it.
Right. Like John said, recreating the breed in America, so American Molossus is very fitting. Yes, absolutely. We got a lot of people who were upset or just said not some very positive things of it. It's not true because it's called the American Molossus, and hence why in the beginning you get a little bit of a history lesson of where they came from and what it is. So
yeah, and thank you for that, John.
Right.
Yeah, it's important because the thing is, we never want to take away from the history of the breed, because there are statues, there's a lot of history on this breed, well known. In fact, any of the dogs that are called the Molosser breeds are from the Molossus.
Yes.
So we would never want to take away from that, but we did create them and resurrect them here, and that's where they got the term American Molossus.
Right,
so
right.
Great question.
There's a question, it might be on our list, but right here, Adolia Reyes. It's a common question. Do they do okay in hot weather, or do they do better in cold weather? That's a very good question. It's very important.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Thanks for asking that. They can survive in any climate. They can be in hot weather. They can be in cold weather. What I would say is, if they're because they're a large, massive breed and they are somewhat snub-nosed, that if they're in hot climates like in Southern California where we're at, it can actually get down to it can get up over 100 degrees. So if they have plenty of clean water, fresh water, misters, shade, they can do okay. As far as cold, they actually love the cold. They do well in cold climates, wet climates, and snow. So it's a great question, but they're a pretty hardy breed, and they can adapt and do well in any of the climates.
More than the colder weather, it's more important to be alert and aware of your Molossus dogs in the summertime, because even like us humans, we can literally have a heat stroke from being outside too long, and imagine a dog at its size. Always keep it cool. If your dog isn't an indoor dog, you need to make sure you're watching them constantly, and if they're panting and the signs of when dogs are, having a heat stroke or not panting and need water or whatnot, you got to cool them down. And ice, cold water, wet their feet apparently is a fast way to cool them down. And we, of course, if you live in Arizona or Southern California and you do have your dogs outdoors, come up with a system to keep them cool, because it's absolutely necessary to have a way to keep them cool constantly in hot climate weather. So if they're not indoors, make sure they're cool outside. Very important.
Also wanted to say, there's a couple people that asked the question if we had already posted this video on YouTube, and we did not. Actually, apparently YouTube is making some changes on their live stream, so I apologize, but both from the phone and the laptop, they're having some restrictions, so we decided to go on here, and hopefully we'll get that uploaded onto YouTube as well. So great question.
For sure.
Want to go to the next one?
Of course. Okay, so where am I? Oh, okay. How big do they get? Wow.
So the Molossus is definitely a large dog. They get to at least 20 pounds. I'm just joking. Actually, they're really large. So the females can be anywhere from 155 to 185 pounds plus. And a lot of them are getting over that. And the males can get anywhere from 185 pounds to 212 pounds or bigger. They can be bigger as long as they are proportioned and structurally are balanced. That's the key with them, because these dogs are massive by design, but they have to be functional and capable of being able to defend against multiple humans, other animals and stuff like that. So that was a great question.
Okay. And hence, if you ever seen Euphrates, homegirl is well over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
She's awesome though. She's beautiful. And she's still functional. If you don't follow Dark Molossus on Instagram, Dark Mountain Molossus on Instagram, you should definitely follow him, because Euphrates is one big bitch, and she's beautiful, and she's strong. She's extremely strong. So just saying, for the female breed, the females in the breed, they're just as strong and they grow just as big. So just saying. Anyhow, okay, on to the next one. Okay, that's a good one. Are they prone to cherry eye? Because we haven't experienced that from our dogs yet. So that's a good question.
Yeah, I would say it's too early to tell with this breed, because again, we are working on bringing these dogs back, and it's too early to tell. What I can say is that this breed does have wrinkle around the neck and on the head, but it's not to be extreme, and it's not to prohibit them from being able to see and function. That being said, the fact that some of the dogs we use to bring these dogs back, being the Neapolitan Mastiff, it is still a possibility. I believe in all of the litters that have been produced by either ourselves or the community that's joined us, I believe one puppy has popped one cherry eye. And for those of you that don't know what a cherry eye is, there are tear ducts all around the eyes of dogs. And if one of them gets plugged, it becomes enlarged and turns red and pops out like a cherry. It doesn't actually hurt the dogs, but it is something that needs to be taken care of and snipped out. We want to try to limit that. So far, a lot of success.
I know a lot of vets will recommend, I'm just saying this, and to each their own, you do what you feel is best for your dog. But as far as when your dog does happen to pop out a cherry eye or whatnot, I know some want to tack it, and tacking is probably not the best thing to do, because for one, it can actually reoccur. Two, you have to put ointment in their eyes forever. It doesn't always stay in. So for us, the best method of treating the cherry eye is removing it altogether. Seldomly do you ever have to continue to put any kind of ointment in their eye for the rest of their life. It's a false statement for some people that I've seen and heard that say you have to put ointment in their eyes if you have it completely snipped out for the rest of their lives. Now, on rare occasions, yes, that's true. Every dog is different. But for the most part, in our dogs that we've had that did have cherry eye, never have to continue to put any kind of ointment in their eye after.
Other than just the initial.
Right, after the treatment. So just saying, so to each your own, just know that there's a difference, and probably best to just have it completely removed.
And what was the next one?
Okay, so.
Oh, you know what? I apologize, everybody. We weren't giving names out, so we'll add names on these questions here. So this
Sorry.
one's from Larry Thomas. No, it's okay.
Okay, so Larry Thomas. How much? What does that say? Does your biggest dog weigh? Just say that.
Another good question. Thank you, Larry Thomas, for that question. The biggest dog we have right now, and granted, they're not all fully mature, so we don't know where all of them will end up, but right now would be Sasquatch. Last time we weighed him, he was at 220 pounds, and that's at 2 years. So right now he's above the standard, but the standard does allow them to get bigger. So we'll see where it is, but we're very proud of him. He can run, he can jump, he can play tug of war, and he can rip a fence down if he needs to. I mean, the dog is a bear. So he's heavy and big, but very capable.
Absolutely. He's extremely strong. Believe me, he's strong.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I believe this is going to be our last question. Joey DeCaro, and I believe he's right there actually asking the question. We'll just go ahead and read it off of there, honey.
Okay, so Joey DeCaro, nutritional supplements, pros and cons. Are they imperative for the breed to grow correctly? It's a great question. There's a lot of nutrition out there. I mean, a lot of different types of kibbles. People are in support of the BARF diet, which is bones and raw food. There's a lot of stuff out there. And as you know, there's just in the AKC alone, there's almost 200 breeds, recognized breeds. I think it's 100 in the 190s now. So they all do differently on different kibbles and supplements. We give our dogs kibble, and we do mix in a little bit of wet food for taste. And we do give them fish oil supplements, and we do give them milk supplement when they are young. That helps their bones grow because these dogs grow incredibly fast. I mean, between 5 to 8 pounds a week when they're puppies. And you want to make sure that you give them enough calories. So high calorie diet when they're young is good. And then granted, once they mature, you don't want to have them fat and overweight. So you want to keep them balanced. So it was a great question. Did we see any more on
Yeah,
there?
right here. We got John. Let me see what else it says, because it says see more. So, okay. What's up, John? I saw that curry win. We watched it, just so you know. We were close in the calling of the order, but anyways, curry win. Anywho, his question was, how consistent are the litters at this point in the recreation? Are pups, looks, structure, etc. uniform at this time or still in creation phase? Absolutely good question.
So, John, that was a great question. I'm going to say this, that surprisingly, the litters have been very consistent. They have a lot of the attributes that we want. The guardian temperaments are pretty consistent. The only thing is that, again, time will tell. We're going to have some things that surprise us. And case in point, we did have recessive gene colors come out, which were a surprise to us. And this is going to continue to happen. But it's a great question. And of course, we like to tell people what's going on so they can follow what we're doing and see the progression. So far we have it. Now, obviously, in the English Mastiffs, they've been bred to be called the gentle giants, and they've bred the guardian traits out of them. Not completely, but in a lot of the bloodlines. And they can be skittish and very weary. And we haven't had any of that. We've chose the selection that we've used of Old English Mastiffs have more of a confident, courageous temperament to them. So we've had really good luck with them so far.
Well, but let me just make one thing clear. The goal hasn't been reached. What the look that we're trying to get and whatnot, it's not there yet. So it's new. And we still have a lot of work to do in the breed. I don't know, do you want to give an example of what we still need, what we're still trying to achieve in the breed? Because it's still new and we're not at the goal yet.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, and we've talked about this before, is that anybody that knows me and knows us, I probably, till I die, will never be happy. I mean, that's just how I am. We do have a standard that's written, and you can see that on our website at oldworldmolossus.com. That gives the standard, and the standard was written so that we know exactly where we need to be. And as we see these dogs, the ones that are already adults and the ones that are maturing, we're going to hold them to that. We're going to hold ourselves to a high standard that these dogs. What I do want to say is that although we are focusing on registries in the AKC, make no mistake. These dogs were bred to be close quarter guardians. The function is more important than the show aspect of it. That is why these dogs were brought back. They were great protectors. They protected children. They protected families, homes, animals, property, and they were large enough and tenacious enough to contend and defend against any animal or any people. And so we thought that that's perfect for nowadays. And that's going to be the goal, both in temperament and health for sure, the look, everything. So been pretty happy with everything.
All right.
So hopefully, hopefully that answered some questions for you guys. Again, on behalf of my wife and I, we love you guys. We're very thankful that you guys have given us so much love and support. We've had just a huge positive outreach by so many people, breeders, fanciers, all kinds of stuff. We've been fortunate to be in documentaries and magazines and all kinds of stuff, and we're grateful. Please stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on as we progress. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody. And if you're still asking questions, we'll get to them. We're time consumed. We have an appointment to be at. So just so you know, we're not just trying to cut you off, but if you're still asking questions, then we'll definitely get back to you guys as soon as we possibly can. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you.